Eli thought he was saving a helpless puppy abandoned on a storm-lashed roadside. Its tiny body trembled in his hands, its oversized eyes wide with silent pleading. He wrapped it in his worn work jacket, carried it home through the downpour, and swore to protect it. But as the days passed, unsettling behaviors surfaced, sounds no puppy should make, movements too precise, eyes that glowed like embers in the dark. When he finally took it to the vet, the doctor's face went ghostly pale, his hands shaking as he whispered the truth. What Eli had brought home wasn't a puppy at all, and the revelation would haunt him forever. If you love stories that grip your heart and haunt your thoughts, hit like and subscribe. We drop new tales every week. And tell us in the comments, what country are you watching from tonight? Rain hammered the roof of Eli's pickup as he turned onto the forested back road, headlights cutting through sheets of water. It was past midnight, the kind of hour when the world feels abandoned and every shadow seems to breathe. Exhausted from a double shift at the garage, he just wanted his quiet cabin and a hot meal. But then he saw it. A small, dark shape huddled in the ditch, barely visible through the deluge. He slowed, squinting. At first, he thought it was a soaked rag or a fallen branch. Then it lifted its head, and two enormous, glassy eyes caught the light like twin mirrors. His chest tightened. He pulled over without thinking. Stepping into the storm, he crouched beside the creature, no bigger than his palm, jet black fur plastered to its shivering frame, ears too large for its skull. "Oh, buddy," he murmured, heartbreaking. It made no sound, just a faint, high-pitched squeak as it clung to his fingers with surprising strength. He cradled it against his chest, shielding it from the rain, and in that moment, he didn't just feel pity, he felt purpose. Back in the truck, he wrapped it in his flannel-lined jacket. "You're safe now," he whispered. The drive home felt surreal, glancing again and again at the tiny bundle beside him, already drifting into sleep. He didn't know it yet, but this act of kindness would unravel everything he thought he understood about compassion. Home. Eli placed the little one on a soft towel by the wood stove. It stirred, blinking up at him with eyes so dark they seemed to swallow the lamplight. He offered warm milk in a shallow dish, and it lapped eagerly, then wobbled back to press against his leg. Eli smiled, relief washing over him, until it made that sound again, a soft, chirping trill, nothing like a dog's whimper. Over the next few days, Rook, as he'd named it, for its shadowy presence, settled in with uncanny grace. It didn't bark or whine. Instead, it chirped, clicked, and sometimes let out low, throaty hums that echoed strangely in the quiet house. Its movements were fluid, almost feline, leaping onto the kitchen counter in one silent bound, balancing on the back of the couch like a tiny sentinel. Friends who visited exchanged uneasy glances. "That's the strangest pup I've ever seen," one said. Another asked, "Are you sure it's even a dog?" Eli laughed it off, but doubt flickered in his gut. At night, Rook prowled the halls, eyes glowing faint amber in the moonlight, often perching at the foot of the bed, watching. Yet Eli never felt fear, only a deep, protective bond. He'd talk to Rook like a child, and the creature would tilt its head, tail flicking in recognition, as if it truly understood. Still, beneath the warmth of their connection, a quiet unease grew. This wasn't just unusual, it was unnatural. The breaking point came on a damp evening when Eli took Rook into the backyard. A neighbor's Labrador barked playfully from across the fence, tail wagging. Rook froze, not in fear, but in stillness so absolute it felt predatory. Then, from its throat rose a sound Eli had never heard before, a guttural, hissing growl that seemed to vibrate in his bones. The Labrador fell silent instantly, ears flattening, retreating with its tail tucked tight. Eli stood frozen, Rook trembling in his arms, not from cold, but from something primal. That night, he couldn't sleep. He scoured the internet, typing phrases like black animal with glowing eyes and chirping wild cub. The images that appeared chilled him. Caracals, servals, even young lynx. Wild, solitary hunters, not pets. His stomach dropped. The next morning, hands shaking, he called the vet. He packed Rook into a carrier lined with his favorite blanket, whispering reassurances he didn't fully believe. The drive to Cedar Ridge Animal Clinic felt endless, every mile heavier than the last. Rook sat silently, watching him with those deep, knowing eyes, as if it already knew what awaited them. Doctor Vance greeted Eli with a warm smile that faded the moment he saw Rook in the sterile exam room. The vet's demeanor shifted from curiosity to concern, then to outright alarm. He examined the creature's teeth, sharp, not blunt like a puppy's. Its claws, long, curved, non-retractable. Its ears, tufted at the tips, set high on a skull too angular for any domestic breed. "Where did you find this?" Dr. Vance asked, voice tight. Eli explained the rainy roadside, the rescue, the growing bond. The vet didn't interrupt. When he finally spoke, his voice was hushed, almost reverent with dread. "Eli, this isn't a dog. Not even close." He leaned closer, pointing to Rook's jawline, its dense fur, the eerie sheen in its eyes. "This is a wild predator, likely a caracal hybrid or something smuggled from overseas. People buy them as exotic pets when they're tiny, then dump them when they realize they can't be tamed." He swallowed hard. "What you've been raising could become lethal within months. Its instincts aren't loyalty, they're survival. And one day, it may not see you as its savior, but as prey." Eli's breath caught. He looked at Rook, who chirped softly, nuzzling his hand. How could something so tender be so dangerous? Within hours, a photo of Rook went viral, posted by a curious neighbor with the caption, "Local man raises puppy, but experts say it's a wild killer." The town erupted. Some hailed Eli as a hero. Others called him reckless, demanding the animal be put down. Reporters camped outside his cabin. Town officials warned of public safety risks. Wildlife authorities sent a formal letter. Surrender the animal within 48 hours or face legal consequences. Eli felt the walls closing in. Strangers left notes on his porch, some pleading him to keep Rook, others threatening him if he didn't. Children gathered at the end of his driveway, hoping for a glimpse of the magic creature. But Eli saw only the truth. Rook didn't belong in a human world. That final night, he sat on the floor, Rook curled in his lap, purring that strange, soft chirp. He stroked its fur, remembering the rain, the trust in those wide eyes, the warmth against his chest. "I thought I was saving you," he whispered. "But maybe you were teaching me what real love looks like." At dawn, Eli drove to the Pacific Wildlife Rehabilitation Center. Rook nestled in the carrier beside him. The staff met him with quiet respect. Papers were signed. Questions were answered. Then came the moment that shattered him, handing over the carrier. Rook pressed its face to the bars, chirping in confusion, claws scraping softly. Eli placed his palm against the plastic, tears blurring his vision. "You deserve to be wild," he said, voice breaking. "Not caged by my love." As they carried Rook away, the chirps faded down the hall, each one a piece of Eli's heart left behind. He stood in the empty parking lot, hollow yet strangely at peace. He hadn't failed Rook, he'd honored him. Because sometimes, the deepest act of love isn't holding on. It's letting go. And as Eli drove back through the quiet forest, he understood. That rainy night hadn't been about saving a life. It had been about learning when to release one.